Hey there, I'm Kettlebell Emma. Welcome to my page. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to be going through exercises that are great for strengthening your core and reducing lower back pain. You're going to need a few tools. We're going to need a stability ball, which is one of those big inflatable balls. We're also going to need a light to medium weight kettlebell. And we're going to be doing a lot of these exercises lying on the floor, but we will do a few standing up. So we're going to be getting up and down. And this is going to be me demonstrating all of these exercises for you and giving you suggested ways to do them on your own, and then you can go ahead and implement them into your workout on your own. Now, if you're looking for more prescriptive guidance, I do have a lower back reducing core strengthening program that you can download today. The link is below and up here, I believe. I'm not sure which corner, I always get confused, but you can go ahead and access that on your own. But without further ado, let's meet down on our mats with that stability ball and get going. One of my favorite core tools is a stability ball. Now, if you don't already own one, there's gonna be options when you go to order it. And if you're under, say, 5'6", go for one of the smaller balls. The longer your limbs, the bigger the ball can be, but it's for the purposes of today's exercises, the higher your legs are, the harder this exercise is going to be. So I believe this is a 55 centimeter ball. I will link them below, but you want a smaller ball for this, especially if you're a more petite person like myself. So what we're going to be doing is leveraging the ball, which is not stable. It's called a stability ball, but it's because it challenges your stability, not because it provides stability. And we're going to use it to engage our little stabilizer muscles to strengthen our core. Actually, to stabilize our core. So the first thing we're going to do is lie down, and you're going to extend your legs fully. And I want you to get your calves on the ball. Now, if you find that these are too challenging, you can push it up against something like a wall, like I have it against my bench here, and that will provide a little more stability in this unstable environment. But what we're going to do is take a sharp exhale through the pursed lips and push the lower back into the floor. Embrace the core here. You want your core to be engaged before we come up, meaning we want some pressure in the abdomen. Now put your hands next to you for balance, and you're gonna lift your hips, and this is a small movement. You want that ball on your calves and heels, and you're gonna bring your hips up and down. Now you can do this for 3 sets of 10, but you can also superset it with other stability ball bridging. So after you do 10 of these, where at the top your hips, knees, and ankles are pretty much on a downward slope. You don't want to come up really high here. We're not trying to get our hips really high. We're just trying to keep them in line with our knees and our ankles. After 10 of those, you can pull the ball in and put your feet on top of the ball. And do this without socks. Socks make this so much harder. And now, another sharp exhale. And we're going to bring our hips up and down. So now we're doing a big bridge on the ball with knees bent. And this one is way more wobbly. So use those hands side to side for balance. What I want you to do is focus on bringing the hips up and down in unison. So staying centered as you move through this movement. It might quickly get into your hamstrings. If you really feel it in the hamstrings, it probably means your legs are too far out, so pull them back in. And if you feel like you don't have any room to move, like, I can't go anywhere, your feet are too close to you. So you gotta find that good spot. So you can do 10 of the straight leg bridges into 10 of the bent leg bridges. And then we can do the spiciest of the 3, which is a hamstring curl with the ball. So first I'll show you the hard version. Sharp exhale through the lips, press the lower back into the ground, hips come up, we extend the legs, we pull them back in. Now your ball is going to feel really hard to move. Your hips are going to feel really hard to keep high, but do the best you can using your hands for balance. Now, if that's completely out of the question for you, what you can do is the eccentric version. So we're going to bring our hips up and at the top of the bridge. Then you're going to extend your legs, bring your hips back down and pull the ball back in. Hips up, extend, hips down, back in. So what you can do is 10 of the straight leg bridge. So 8, 9, 10, pull the ball in, Reposition your feet so they're flat on the ball. Rebrace the core. 10 of these. 8, 9, 10. Now hips stay up, and 5 to 10 hamstring curls, whether you're pulling the ball in and out and keeping the hips up the whole time, or whether you're doing the eccentric where the hips come up, the legs extend, and then the hips come down to pull the ball back in, which is the real hard part of this movement. And after you do that whole set, you can repeat that 2 to 3 times. This is going to be a great thing to do before your workout. So the exercises that are to come, you can bake into your workout and get that core and lower back strengthening throughout your workout. But this is what we would call movement prep or core activation to get you ready for any of the future exercises. These next 2 exercises you can either do as a superset to each other, or you can sprinkle them in throughout a strength day. We're going to be doing a front rack hold and a kettlebell good morning. Now you want to pick a medium weight kettlebell for this. For reference, I'm picking a 12 kilogram, but if I were doing this in my workout, I might use a 14 or a 16 kilogram, but that's just me. You can use whatever feels appropriate. So the first exercise is going to be a front rack hold, and that is going to work to strengthen your core. We work on core strengthening when we keep our spine in a neutral position and we put load on the spine and resist that load. It's anti-rotational, but it's also core strengthening, and it's a great way to start to build endurance for holding weight when you've had a lot of back pain. To pick up this kettlebell, what you're going to do is hinge your hips back. You're going to put the kettlebell in the hand it wants to live in, put the other hand over it, and cheek clean it up. If you know how to do a kettlebell clean, be my guest and do that. But for the sake of assuming you don't know how to do it, we just want to get the kettlebell into a front rack position. Now what I would like you to do here is send the apex of your knuckles, meaning the pointy part of your knuckles, up towards the ceiling, and think of curling your wrist in. If this is really uncomfortable, that's a conversation for another day, but you will get used to it, or you can put on some 1980s sweatbands and that will give you a little padding and make it more comfortable. What we're gonna do is think of pulling our elbow down by our waist and getting our knuckles onto our thumb knuckle onto our pec muscle. So thumb to the chest. And from here, you're going to have a nice strong front rack and you're gonna get your feet underneath you. Now the core needs to be on. So I don't wanna see you shifting your hips forward, or I don't wanna see you shifting your weight to one side to support that weight. We wanna be strong. So sharp exhale through the pursed lips. Ab wall is on, ribs are pointing towards the hip bones, tailbones towards the floor. And you can do a few different things here. You can just hold this kettlebell for 30 seconds on each side. Or, I've got to switch arms because that does get tiring, and I'm pretty sure that was more than 30 seconds. And you can see here me picking up the bell. It's going to sit in the right hand, so I put the right hand on the bell. Left hand goes over it. We keep the bottom of the bell facing down as we pick it up. The other arm goes out by the side. Brace my core, and you can see I'm favoring the kettlebell here. I'm favoring that side, so I want to pull my hips towards the midline. And now another option you have, if you don't just want to stand there for 20 to 30 seconds, but that's a great place to start, is you can march in place. But we don't want lazy marches. We don't want to be like, me, me, me. We want flexed feet, tall, extended glutes. So look here. I'm going to reach through my grounded leg as I lift up the other leg with a flexed foot, meaning toes up. I'm going to lift through my grounded glute here, long straight hips. And I'm going to just switch from one foot to the other, trying to find a moment of balance each time. And you have a third option. We're going to switch hands once again. You can just walk around. Now it's going to be really hard to not sway around when you're walking. So this is going to be the most challenging variation. And I would suggest going a fair distance. Say we're doing a 30-second timer. I'd like you to walk about 15 seconds in one direction and then 15 seconds in the other direction. But I don't have that much leeway on camera here, so I'm just paced back and forth. So what I'd like you to do is you can hold it on one arm and then the other arm. Very little rest between arms. Start with 20 seconds and you can work up to 45-second intervals. I don't think there's a ton of value in exceeding that 45-second interval right now for core. You're gonna just really be challenging your arm more than your core at that point. And you can superset it with the Kettlebell Good Morning, or you can just sprinkle it in wherever fits your workout. To set up for the Good Morning, you're going to take an underhand grip of the bell. So palms face away from you, and then grab onto the bell in front of you as though you were to swing it. We're gonna hinge our hips back, and now your palms are facing up. You're gonna hike the bell and bend your elbows to clean it up to bottoms up. From here, you're going to halo the bell behind your head and get it onto your upper back. Now it would sit on your spine, but what we're gonna do to prevent that from happening, can't decide if I wanna face forward or backward here, but I think backward's better for the video right now. We're gonna pull those elbows apart, and that's gonna really pull the shoulder muscles together and create a muscle ledge for that kettlebell to sit on and not hit your spine. That's very important here. So you're gonna wanna let those elbows come together as you move. This is gonna start to happen. We're gonna pull them apart. Now you're going to do a very stiff leg hinge, meaning very little knee bend and a lot of hip hinge. So bring those hips back. Pull the hips back as you bring your torso towards parallel with the ground. Stand back up. With each rep, when you stand up, pull those elbows apart and really reach your hips back. And at the bottom here, you can feel how that weight on your back wants your lower back to compromise. It wants the lower back to take the brunt of it, but we're stabilizing through it by keeping a long engaged core through the whole movement. We're really strengthening the lower back. Now here's the tricky bit about a Kettlebell Good Morning. You need to do a halo back out. And I can tell you after that whole demo, my arms were feeling a little tired. So please be mindful when you do this exercise that you don't pick a weight that you can't get out of. If you're at the gym and you feel like you're stuck, shout for somebody to come grab the bell. Or if you're at home, go sit on your couch and lean back and let go of the bell so it just rolls onto the couch. You know, you'll be very close to the seat by the time you're sitting down. Just be mindful that you don't go too heavy because I wouldn't want you to get hurt doing that. If you'd like to combine this with the front rack hold, we would do 30 seconds of front rack holds on each side, followed by 10 to 15 kettlebell good mornings. If the weight doesn't feel that heavy for your glutes and your lower back, you can go a little bit higher in the rep range just for the sake of the arms to be able to still get out of the exercise. Lighter on the weight, higher in the rep range is okay. So we would do 10 to 15 of those. Good morning, superset with 30-second hold on each side, and I would do 3 rounds of that, or again, you could pepper it into a workout. I hope these exercises help to strengthen your core and lower back and ultimately reduce back pain. But if you're looking for a more strategic program that tells you exactly what you need to do, pulls together all of these exercises and many, many more, check out my core strengthening program for lower back pain. It is linked below, it is linked up here, and it's self-serve, it's easy to follow, and it's super cheap. So I hope it helps, and I'll see you next week.